Today, myself and my friend Emilia will be going over the unsolved case of the Black Dahlia. We will also be covering who we believe might be behind the murder of Elizabeth Short. Let's get to the case. Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia, was born July 29th in 1924 in Hyde Park, Massachusetts. As soon as she was born, her parents moved the family to Medford, Massachusetts. Elizabeth Short was also known as Betty, Bet, or Beth, and she grew up to be a pretty girl. She was always told that she looked older and acted more mature than she really was. Although Elizabeth had asthma and lung problems, her friends still considered her to be very lively. Elizabeth was very much fixated on movies, hence the fact that she wanted to become an actress, and it was the only main source of affordable entertainment in the Short family. Theater allowed her an escape from the dreariness of the ordinary life.
The autopsy results show the Los Angeles Police Department noted that the woman's body seemed to have been posed, weirdly so. The woman was lying on her back with her arms raised over her shoulders and her legs were spread in a twisted display of seductiveness. Okay. There were cuts and abrasions across her body, and her mouth had been sliced to extend her smile from ear to ear. Investigators believe she had been tied down and tortured for several days due to the rope marks on her wrists, ankles, and neck. Her naked body had been cleanly sliced in half just above her waist. There was no blood present on the woman's body, reportedly to be drained, and there was none on the grass beneath her either. The investigators determined that she must have been killed elsewhere, cleaned of the blood, and then dumped into the vacant lot overnight.
I mean, and then we can talk about like how her body was like posed.
Yeah.
Coming back to the fact that Man Ray.
Yeah, an idolized artist by George Hodel, which a suspect that we will talk about later. But in addition to the autopsy, the original cause of death was hemorrhage and shock due to the concussion of the brain and laceration of her face.
Yes.
Reportedly that she had received blows over her head.
Yeah.
Many. It doesn't say how many. Let's go to the conspiracy theories here.
Alright, so, first things first. They did receive a lot of messages.
Like, it wasn't over like 75
Yeah,
people?
like from the department, and it was like cut up letters.
Yeah.
And they all were signed as the Black Dahlia Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Not to mention, didn't they have, or didn't he have, technically, her belongings, like her social security card, her address book with a few pages cut out.
yeah.
So that goes to show that this person knew Elizabeth Short, and they must have been close.
Yeah.
Or not, you know?
Yeah.
Because during the time in Elizabeth's life, she struggled between periods of like unemployment, where she would have to be a waitress while aspiring to be an actress and try to get minor roles in films. It could have been noted that she must have sold herself to prostitution, to other men.
Yeah, just to get that money. And
Yeah.
I mean, probably all those people in that address book.
Probably knew her from the street, you know?
Yeah. And one of them is probably
The killer.
Yeah, and probably was like obsessed with her in a way.
Yeah.
And coming to think that,
There's no way that it could have just been someone like out of the blue.
yeah.
I mean, it could, considering like an actress, you know.
I mean, yeah, but she wasn't as famous.
The ironic situation about this, though, like very like a Shakespearean like play act right here, but she got famous after she died, not before she died. That is so ironically sad, but that's how it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but here's that the killer could have used other people to distract the reporters. Hence, you know, the 50 people, like, either psychotic or hired to, you know, throw the LAPD off the killer's track.
Yeah. Which kind of leads to the fact that the killer is pretty smart.
Like, high IQ.
Pretty high IQ. Like, no one can just think of that after wanting to murder someone.
Which leads us to George Hodel.
Our first suspect.
Yes. Possibly the murder of Jean French. 3 weeks after Short's murder, February 10th, she also received head trauma and found dead in a vacant lot. BD was initialed on her body in black lipstick, which was possibly... It possibly meant the Black Dahlia.
Yeah.
Like, as a taunt, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't catch me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna do this.
And she was found after
it was just
Elizabeth
so-
Short was found 3 weeks.
Yes, this whole case is just a whole run of coincidences throughout the whole case, the whole time.
Yeah. And the fact that George Hodel was not just accused for just Elizabeth Short's
He
death.
was accused of doing other messed up stuff.
John French, and then that one murder in the Philippines.
Yes.
In Manila. It was a woman reportedly murdered in 1967 in Manila, found bisected and posed in an empty lot just like the Black Dahlia.
Coincidental.
And
Not to mention,
yeah.
notes written by the killer also matched George Hodel's handwriting.
Mm-hmm. And
that's something to know.
Yeah. And also, like, the son was the investigator of the case of the Black Dahlia. Mm-hmm. So there kind of was some
That's a
personal...
strong accusation, considering it's a son.
Yeah.
Blood relation.
And considering that he was not really the best father, looking into research...
It could have either been, you know,
bad
oh, I'm gonna
father.
use this murder to, like, get back at my own dad, or, like, okay, this is seriously, like, my dad killed... you know, Elizabeth Short.
Yeah.
Considering that Steve Hodel, the son of George Hodel, made 3 books about it.
Yeah.
So
there's a chance that Steve, the son, is trying to leave a message here for the people to find out that maybe his dad is actually the killer of the Black Dahlia.
exactly.
So
Not to mention... Alright, so... other evidence against George Hodel, according to his son, includes an old recording of a conversation between the doctor and an unknown person, during which Dr. Hodel allegedly stated, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's dead." First of all, if you were normal, don't say that.
you can't say that because
That is not a normal thing to say. That's as if, like, it's a taunt
Mhm.
or, like, a mind game. Considering George Hodel was a highly respected Los Angeles doctor with a high IQ who supposedly breezed through his medical school.
pretty much. And
So
like,
he knew what he was doing.
yeah, I mean, like the way they found this recording was because they had to leave
Devices.
into his house to hear into what was going on in the house.
For over 40 days, right?
Yeah, and the
Over 40 days.
fact that he said that knowing that there was devices being planted in his home
Yep.
and saying that's a huge
That's a huge
Huge.
oops, you know?
big oops.
Yeah. The secretary referred to in the transcript was Ruth Spalding, who died from a drug overdose due to Hodel's comments in the recordings, which he was verbally abusing her. He was investigated for her murder. He had been present when the secretary died and had burnt some of her belongings before the police were called. Weird coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, the Spalding case was dropped due to the lack of evidence, unfortunately. But it was possible, you know? However, documents were later found that indicated Spalding had been planning to blackmail Hodel. She was potentially about to come forward about Hodel intentionally misdiagnosing patients and billing them for laboratory tests, medical treatments, and unnecessary prescriptions.
Which could
We got a bad guy on our hands.
yeah, and it pretty obvious aside like maybe he
It just baffles me, honestly.
he probably got thrown off after the fact that she got murdered. Maybe he got thrown
He
off.
definitely,
and,
like, if she was gonna blackmail him to the point where it had to be some really juicy information if he were to kill her over it.
yeah. I mean, coming back to the fact that he also did have.
It's so, like, coincidental, like, he would be there, like, for her death, you know?
Pretty much.
Not to mention, like, why would he burn her belongings?
Yeah.
That is so odd. He definitely had something to do with that. There is no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. They must have been really, really close. I mean,
Yeah.
considering that the fact that it was reported that they probably did have they've dated before, romantic connections. And, I mean, considering how screwed George Hoddle is, the fact that he put his daughter through so much, oh my gosh, I feel bad for that girl.
Tamar Hoddle, at an early age 11, it can also relate to the Black Dahlia to the point where, because of these parties, he invited this one artist that he really, really admired.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I think it was Man Ray.
It was Man Ray,
Yeah.
an idolized artist who had a sexual appeal to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it could also be noted that he used the Black Dahlia as a way to make his own art, because reportedly he always wanted to become an artist. He always has.
But in the
he
most screwed way possible.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't sketch that out.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
looking back to the fact that BD was signed on that Jean
There's no
French,
way. There's no way.
It could have been him.
Yeah.
Like the way maybe he wanted to try to express that was him. Like that's his art,
Yeah.
but not straight.
In relation to that, Tamar Hoddle, the daughter, George Hoddle, age 11, George would always host these magnificent parties at his mansion. However, these were not the good kind of parties. They were the kind of, like the
sexually intimate kind.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
to explore the mystery of love in the universe. Like,
Pretty.
can't you do that alone, like in the woods somewhere,
not
forcing your kids to do that? You
Yeah,
know?
not to get them involved, and they were pretty young at that time when those things were kind of happening.
In addition to that,
Aside from that, like I feel bad for like Elizabeth Short, because I mean, she was a hoe,
God.
but she was a hoe, but
you can't say she was a hoe. What's wrong with you? She was well known on the streets.
well, the way like she was that, like she had to go through all that, like she couldn't just. Like, I mean, Elizabeth Short had to have someone there to support her. I mean, oh yeah, because she did move to Hollywood. She did. So she was lonely. So she did.
Well,
Elizabeth. Because, I mean, her family was somewhere else.
yeah, that's true, but oh man, it's so wild. Here's the case. To get to the point, daughter of Hoddle claimed she had posed for nude photos for Man Ray when she was a child at age 11. 1949, she reported her father to the police, who had tried to teach her about oral sex at age 11 to offer her to friends. At age 14, she claimed that he himself had sex with her, with 2 eyewitnesses in the trial saying that yes, he did, have sex with her. At age 15, Tamar gave birth to a girl in San Francisco, which was named Fauna Hoddle, soon to be adopted.
Yeah.
India Isley, I believe. Yes. It is speculated that, it was speculated that Hoddle may be the father, sickly so, the father of Fauna Hoddle, but not
because in the birth certificate.
Yes, when Tamar moved away, she was unfortunately raped by a neighborhood boy.
No.
And it all went down from there, so she gave up the kid for adoption. Since that evidence is obtained, it is possible that Steve Hoddle may be accusing his father because his sister was hurt, which is it's possible, but it's very far-stretched considering you chose your profession as a detective, and you wrote 3 books about it. Like, there's that's kind of off the table, you know? Considering, like, you have to put it as a possibility, it's very unlikely.
Oh, yeah.
It's very
Sure.
unlikely.
And, I mean, when you look at, like, when Fauna was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
the granddaughter.
When the couple that adopted her, it stated that her father was black.
Yeah, that's so... And Tamara did that to ensure, okay, no one's going to find out about this. No one's going to find out at all, you know?
But in a weird way, why would they put that her father was black?
Yeah.
And looking at her grown now, they thought that when she was a baby, she'd probably darken up to become, you know, an African American child.
You could
But like,
at least put the guy as Mexican.
yeah, or something else, like not
But, like,
too far.
I mean,
That
come
makes
on.
it, like, an
Tamar was
obvious-
15.
Yeah.
You're not fully developed in the head at that, considering that you have just been like sexually, psychologically, and physically abused at all levels. Like that messes you up in your logic. Considering that later on in life, Tamar Hoddle did have 5 children and did become the abuser, unfortunately.
She's been places.
She then died in Honolulu, Hawaii at 8 years old. However, she managed to repair her relationship with her kids.
Which is sick, because that's hard to do.
But considering that Tamar did sell one of her kids for sex.
That's sick. That's quite sick.
Like, considering that, though, like, at a young age, like, you're misguided, you don't...
That's true.
It messes you up, you know?
And she didn't really have anyone to guide her with that stuff, so she was pretty panicked.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't blame her.
Yeah. In addition to Tamar's case, like, early on in her life, where, like, she did, like, when she ran away from home, she did accuse, George of the sexual abuse. The charges were dropped because he was the breadwinner. And then she was then sent to a detention center, a juvenile one, and nicknamed Tamar the Liar by her own family.
That's pretty shunning.
Hi.
I feel bad. But, like, going back to Elizabeth Short, though, like, wow.
Yeah, that was just a side case there, but it can also, like, be the fact that because, like, the Black Dahlia, like, really showcased all of this. Considering it is the most notorious case that has never been solved. But, like, everyone has an idea, you know?
And,
like, who did it?
Yeah, and at this point, I feel like it's kind of easier to figure out who did it because, I mean, 21st century, you know?
Yeah.
But, like,
I would say so.
At this point, it should be pretty obvious because, I mean, George Hodel, he did go to medical school, supposedly. And then he's a doctor. He had kids.
Continuing on George Hodel, he did a lot of other twisted stuff. It doesn't end here.
Which makes him such a highlighted suspect. Like, he did so much.
Not to mention the murders. It is true, like, it could be a cold blood case where, like, hey, the same exact murder happened for, what was there?
Which one?
For the family that got killed.
Oh. In cold blood?
Yeah.
No,
The Clutters! However, it could definitely be like a Clutters murder case where another sick person decided to be, you know, inspired by that.
Yeah.
Inspired by the art. And continue to kill in that fashion.
It's,
But the 2 killers, forgot their names. We remember things.
Yes.
The 2 killers were coincidentally in that area at the time, which could also be inferred that, hey, George Hodel killed this other person in the Philippines, and he was at least like a mile away, not a mile,
half a mile,
like away
from the crime scene.
Like, how coincidental is that?
And the fact that he has so much criminal background behind him already and accusations.
Exactly.
Come on. Like, I mean,
Not
sure, Robert Manley was a suspect, but, like, he was reported to be innocent because of the fact that he was, you know, in the war. He was a veteran, and he had some struggles mentally.
In addition to how, like, he had help, the LAPD dropped the case for 48 hours because the case went cold. And Hoddle's recordings revealed that the allegations against the LAPD and the corrupt officers who had a hand in drugs and a illegal abortion center that was supposedly ran in George Hoddel's basement.
Yeah.
Alright. It is possible that the LAPD purposely lost the evidence in order to save their own skins because Huddle had ties with the corrupt side of the LAPD.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the information that we have there, but to conclude that statement,
yeah,
George Huddle did it. There's no way he did not do it.
So obvious.
There's no way.
He's been cracked to the head because, like,
there's no way he did not do it.
Yeah, like, all the facts line up. Like, he's so, like, he's screwed.
Considering that, like, all the other, like, twisted things he did to his kids, to...
beforehand. And it, like, worked up to this point. And, like, all his cases probably are emphasized just because of the Black Dahlia.
That is probably it. Because if the Black Dahlia case did not if it did not happen,
yeah,
then he probably wouldn't have been found out.
And
Tamara Huddle would never even be a thing.
Yeah, that, and like the fact that they even made a movie.
That's true. I Am the Night. There's like a series about it.
Yeah, and it's a movie. It's a show. There's 3 books.
People are just going all over it.
It's newts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
not
I mean,
only that, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It really keeps you quiet. Like, I cannot imagine what was going through the witness's head when they first discovered.
Yeah, not to mention, like, the detectives. Like, the good parts of the LAPD, you know?
Oh, yes.
Like, to go over this case for, like, how many years? Like, at least...
It's been over, like, what? 50, 60?
Around that time, yeah.
50, 60.
Yeah, years. But it's just so sad.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, she was dumped there. Like, she had hopes. She had dreams. She worked up to be one, like,
it was
wanting
just
to
a
be famous.
very, very unfortunate story to begin with.
Like, the way he wanted to express his art.
Not the way to do it. For all the artists out there that want to do that, don't do that.
Do it with, like, a mannequin.
No.
Not even a mannequin, just, like, painted.
Do it with a sculpture.
Oh.
Be creative like that. That takes more work.
Yeah. And I mean, that's something that can be put into an art museum. I mean, I don't know who would want to put a corpse.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
No. God.
Yeah, in conclusion, George Huddle, you're a really bad guy. You suck. We hate your guts. You killed Elizabeth Short.
We know you did it. I know you're dead, but like...
We know what you did last
If your
time.
ghost comes up into my house, like, I know it's you.
I'm gonna...
Like, I'm calling the cops, no matter how crazy I sound.
who it is. Anyway, yeah, that's our video. Thanks.
And make sure to subscribe, comment, and like.
Bye!
Make sure to hit that bell icon.
Stop the video right now. Stop.